Well, did you say this is private property?
Are you taking pictures?
I am.
There you go. I don't care. I've been here 32 years. I don't give a
Are you saying this is a privately owned corporation?
You stop filming me.
Oh no, that'll never happen.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
But you're not allowed to come in here and take pictures unless you have clearance.
You can't engage with me. I know the game. Last chance, leave. Don't want to leave.
Or
So once you pass that and go into our yard, it'll be considered trespassing.
and how would a random person, some citizen that shows up, know this in advance?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Hey everyone, I am free. It's May 31st, 2024. I'm in the city of San Diego County, California state. I'm actually in California on personal business, and I decided before I came down to try to maximize the use of my time. And going back and looking at some tips and leads from several months ago, I looked at the tips and realized they're kind of vague, kind of broad. So what I'm going to do with these, as opposed to typical tips and leads I have back up in Washington State, is just treat these as compliance audits. There's just not enough meat on the bones for me to really say there's something super specific. But that's okay, because I still had those people reaching out to me as sources, and at the time I said I just don't get down to California. So I'm going to check these out, see if there's any validity to them. I've already worked on a few stories here in San Diego, and 100% of the time these broad, vague tips have turned out to be accurate. So I'm going to go on and check today the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System, and it's the Kearney Mesa Division Depot that I'm going to check out right now. So while I've got your attention, if you wouldn't mind liking, sharing, and subscribing, hitting that all notifications bell so you get my stories right when they're released. You can follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at I.A.M. Auditing, on Facebook at Inland Auditing Media, and if you want to help keep my feet on the streets, you can do so by going to the links in the description for Cash App and Venmo. Let's get on over there and get to work. Video surveillance. Parking violators will be immobilized. Wow. Good, how you doing, man?
Can I help you?
No, I'm good.
This is private property.
Well, did you say this is private property?
Hey everyone, let's see if what the public servant said is correct. We're going to dive right on in and dissect this to find out if what he just said is true or not. These kinds of public servants say this stuff all of the time, and it is critical to understand the difference between public and private when you're attempting to use your liberties. First of all, let's take a look at how the San Diego County Assessor's Office defines this property. As you can see here from the Assessor's Office website, the highlighted red area is the parcel I was at that day. The owner's name isn't there, but you can tell that there is no total value and the use type is no value. This is important to take note of, as public property will often be listed as having no value and thus no tax payment. If you now look at the Sandag parcel lookup tool here, you can also confirm that the parcel numbers match by looking here. But you can also see that the assessor land improvements and total line items are all 0. This is because it is non-taxed public land. Finally, to confirm that with a little more used map, I've included a Google Maps screenshot showing the same location identified by the marker and the pop-up box identifying it as the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System, just so we all can for sure say we are talking about the same property. Seeking the greatest level of detail to determine if this property is for sure public property and not private, as this guy said, I called the assessor's office and was told that it is a public agency by the assessor's customer service representative. However, I know you are not all privy to that call because in California, that would be a wiretapping violation. And I don't want you to take just that call and my acknowledgement of it as the final word. So here's how else we can confirm that this property is public property of a public agency. If you go to this URL here, the codified ordinance that establishes the current state of the public agency as seen in Ordinance Section 5.1a is listed. You can see it here, and it reads as follows. The Metropolitan Transit System has been created by state law, Public Utilities Code Section 120000 through 12054, as a public agency. So, let's go check out that part of the California State Codes together. In going to California Code, Public Utilities Code, PUC Section 120050, we read the following, quote, there is hereby established the San Diego Metropolitan Transit Development Board in that portion of the County of San Diego as described in Section 120054. Subsection B, the board shall also be known as the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System. Any reference in law to the board shall be construed to include a reference as to the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System. Subsection C1. The board shall be considered a rapid transit district for the purposes set forth in Article 5, commencing with Section 53090 of Chapter 1, Part 1, Division 2 of Title 5 of the Government Code. Section 2 of Subsection C, the board shall be included within the meaning of, quote, public agency, end quote, as defined in Section 1450 of the Streets and Highways Code. Now, if you notice, the Public Utilities Code Section 120050 identifies the Government Code, Article 5, Division 2, Part 1, Chapter 1, Section 53090, and Section 1450 of the California State Streets and Highway Codes as to defining the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System as a public agency. So, let's go check that out in great detail here so we can absolutely ensure that we know that this is public property. Going back to the taxonomy of the California state codes, which can be a bit labyrinthine, you can quickly see that the California codes are broken down by category. We're looking for these two here. The Government Code, GOV, for Title 5, Division 2, Part 1, Chapter 1, and Section 53090. And we're looking for the Streets and Highways Code, SHC, Division 2, Chapter 5.5, Article 1, Section 1450, Subsection C. Let's first look at the Gov Code for Section 53090 to discover what the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System is not, as it is referenced in the ordinance for the creation of the Metropolitan Transit System. We find Title 5 here, followed by Division 2 here, Part 1 is next here, followed by Chapter 1 here, and finally Section 53090 here. When we get to Section 53090, we find the following. Quote, subsection A, local agency means an agency of the state for the local performance of government or proprietary function within limited boundaries. Local agency does not include the state, a city, a county, a rapid transit district, or a rail transit district whose board of directors is appointed by public bodies or officers or elected from election districts within the area comprising the district or a district organized pursuant to Part 3 of Division 16 of the Streets and Highways Code. What's important about this is that the state of California is clearly identifying that this public agency is distinct from being a local agency. That's an important distinction. The next section, the Streets and Highways Code, SHC, is broken down in the following way. We first go back here to the categorical breakdown of the entire California Code and look for the SHC code here. We now go to Division 2 here, next to Chapter 5.5 here, on to Article 1 here, which is titled General Provisions, and finally to Section 1450 here, which says, quote, subsection C, public agency includes any city, public corporation, political division, or district. We just got done confirming from subsection C1 of the Public Utilities Code of the California Code that, quote, the board shall be considered a rapid transit district. So, what we've done here to recap is absolutely confirm 100% this is a public agency. We look to the assessor's office to determine what the state and ownership of the property that that public agency rests on is in fact public property. Therefore, we can go back to this public servant and in fact recognize that this man does not know anything of which he believes he is speaking about to be true.
Yeah, MTS. Are you here with somebody?
Hold on, let's go back to point 1. This is in no way, shape, or form private property.
Okay, well,
It's public property.
Public, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to come in here and take pictures unless you have clearance.
What? How did you come to that conclusion?
Huh? It's been under our policies.
Oh, yeah. Let me assuage your concerns here.
Oh,
So,
I know who you are.
sir, this is my first time in California State ever in my life.
Okay.
I really doubt you know who I am.
Yeah, I did. Have a nice day.
Who do you think I am?
Huh? Have a nice day.
Huh? That's pretty strange. Wow. You guys should comment and let me know what you guys think that guy thought who I was or who I am. That's really odd. I've never had that happen before. I don't know. Kind of odd. I was nice enough. Obviously didn't understand where you can go and where you can't. Man, that is a massive tower over there. That building over there on the other side of that building right there and all, basically this area, that's the California Highway Patrol. I'm not really certain what exactly that specific CHP office is for, but it's California Highway Patrol. It makes sense that they have got that large tower there for communications and whatnot. I know that there is a Metro Zone 911 dispatch center. I went there yesterday, getting some video footage and still photograph images, and I'm uncertain if they dispatch just for county, city, or if they dispatch for everyone. I've heard, but I have no way to know for sure if like that tower right there, if they effectively dispatch for just CHP or even if that is a dispatch center. So hard to say what it is.
Afternoon.
How's it going?
Good.
Good,
What
what's
are
up?
we doing?
I just gathered some B-roll footage
For who?
for me.
Okay. Don't have authorization to be here. We're about to ask you to leave.
What restricts it?
Don't have authorization to be here. You have to leave. Who gave you authorization? Just a name we can confirm?
Oh no, it's
It's not a public facility. It's a private facility.
you're saying this is a privately owned.
Let's walk
No,
out the
no,
property.
sir, hold on. I'm asking you questions. You're providing me information. Are you saying this is a privately owned
You
corporation?
stop filming me.
Oh
You want
no,
the-
that'll never happen.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Are you saying this is a privately owned corporation?
I've seen YouTube videos before, and I know the process, so I'm going to go ahead and pass. Carry on bravely. I'll take care of it from here.
Okay.
Where you been?
Been here.
I've seen you forever.
I seen you.
So refusing to leave, don't identify. Got it.
All right. Good talk. Hey, sir, do you know, was he saying this is a private corporation? Strange. I'm gonna go see who this guy is. Hey, sir, what's your name?
I'll be with you in a minute.
You bet. What's your name?
I'll be with you in a minute.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Spell the name. I'll be with you in a minute. Spell that.
That's an odd name.
You can't engage with me. I know the game. Last chance, leave. Don't want to leave.
Or just trying to get some information, sir. You could stop being rude and maybe be polite. Is that the kind of public service that occurs here? Wow, that guy is incredibly rude. Wow. That is absolutely insane. I'm gonna see, I don't even know who that guy is. I'm gonna see if I can get some help. Hey, sir, you want to just like start this all over again? Because you've been incredibly unprofessional and rude. Like, it's like you're going out of your way to be rude and unprofessional. I'm trying to get a public records request down here, and you're required if you are.
Got a card?
What's that?
Do you have a card? Do you have a business card?
No.
Okay, I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. I'd like to get a public records request form for the California Public Records Act. Now, I'm sure you know if you're an employee here, that's something you have to abide by.
I'll be right back.
All right.
How you doing, sir?
Good, so-
They don't want to open the door?
What's that?
They don't want to open the door for you? Lock?
Yeah, well, it looks like it's just badge access only for this. They got their,
Okay.
their thing over there.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the manager to come back out because I'm trying to get some business done, but he's just not coming out.
Oh, okay. How you doing, sir?
Hey, you got a business card by chance?
You know what? No, sir. But you know what? My supervisor, who's the bus liaison supervisor, is actually going to be coming in soon. So
Okay,
you'll
cool.
be able to talk to him.
All right.
So what's going on? Why are you...
Just working.
Huh?
I'm working.
Oh, you're pressed?
I am.
Oh, you're pressed. Okay.
Yep.
So they told us this is a common area.
Oh, that's common out there too. I'm gonna go back out there in just a minute.
Okay. Well, like I said, our supervisor is going to be coming in soon right now.
Sure.
He's gonna be very happy to talk to you.
What's that?
He's gonna be happy to talk to you. You know, he's
Sure, that's fine. I mean, as long as this is a consensual conversation, you guys aren't like doing any sort of detention or anything.
This is
Oh, cool. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I
You're
don't-
just like you're talking to me. I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I don't mind having a consensual conversation with you guys.
I understand how that is.
So how does it work for you guys? You're transit public officer?
Yeah, we're public officer. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what do you have like an ID number or badge number or anything like that?
I do. It's 1046.
1046. And how about yours, sir?
ID number 3921.
Great. What's your last name?
Brinkmeyer. Brinkmeyer.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Let me give a call real quick, all right?
Sure.
One second.
Yeah. Hey, Fontes. Is it
Yes,
Fontes
sir.
or?
Yes, you said it
Fontes,
perfect.
okay.
Actually, you're one of the very few that actually gets it right. Yes.
Well, I figured there's two ways to go at it. I just picked the one that probably seemed most likely. Is there any way you can ask that white-haired guy, whatever? I don't even know who he is. but I just need to get that records request form.
Okay, we're gonna go talk to him right now.
Great,
I got
appreciate
more
it.
information from my supervisor. We'll come right after and talk to you. Okay.
Great, and your supervisor is showing up?
Yes, he is, sir.
And who's
He's
that?
actually on his way. That's Sergeant Miguel Gonzalez.
Miguel.
He's a
Gonzalez.
bus liaison supervisor.
Cool,
Yes.
thanks man, appreciate it.
All right, sir.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
No. You okay?
So are one of the supervisors want to bring out a CPRA form?
So basically what we landed on is we're gonna let our supervisor Miguel Gonzalez talk to you about that. Once he gets here, he's gonna give you all that information. So there's a reason why he is assigned as a bus liaison. So he's that guy that's between transit enforcement and buses. Yeah. So that he's that middle guy between the buses and our department, which is code compliance. So that's basically what his role is. You know, he's a bus liaison, so he's the middle guy.
What does that have to do with CPRAs?
Well, because they don't want to come out here right now, so they're gonna wait for my supervisor to take this. He should be here in any minute.
Why don't they want to come out?
I'm not sure, sir. For what I know,
I just want to make sure I get this recorded here. So you're saying a public employee is not wanting to come out?
No. For what I know, they're busy right now. They're working, and whoever it is that you said that you wanted to talk to,
Yeah, just saw him walk out that way.
Whoever
And then there's a blue shirt.
whoever the person in charge is out of town right now. Like I said, you're going to be talking to the one in
there's
charge.
a big misunderstanding here. It's any public servant that is
Okay.
approached. So any one of the guys that just went in,
Okay.
Esteban, the bus mechanic, whatever.
Oh, okay. So
I can be like, hey, I need to get a public records request form. Can you ask whoever it is in there that can print one out for me? They
Okay.
go in, they print it out.
We mentioned that to them, so I'm pretty sure they're working on something right now.
It doesn't sound like that's what they're doing.
Are you taking pictures?
I am.
There you go. I don't care. I've been here 32 years. I don't give it. I don't know what.
That's crazy.
Are you taking pictures?
Yeah, video and pictures.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Just getting some B-roll of the
Oh, yeah.
facility and whatnot. I was trying to get a public records request done, but the
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Have fun. Do what you're doing.
thanks, man.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how it's.
Well, I mean, it's actually, work. I'm just trying to get some B-roll footage. Other places I'm working on a story about MTS.
Okay.
But yeah, and then I'm trying to get records requests done. So, anyways, have a good day, man.
Hey, you got buses.
Well, yeah, I know you guys don't have the
How easy is
records
that?
here. I'm just going to the closest facility to get the records request done. I don't want to go to the other one. It's too far away.
Do you mind if I just get your name?
Yeah, I do.
If you can.
Yeah, no, I'm.
You don't want to? Okay. That's completely acceptable. Don't worry.
Oh, that's your sergeant right there?
Actually, he's a sergeant. He's not the bus liaison supervisor. He's actually a sergeant.
Well, look, at this point, if the guy's not going to provide a public records request then or a form.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna be able to sort something out. Like I said, he's been in his charge for a long time, so he probably can handle something. Hopefully,
Yeah,
he can
no,
talk to you and get
part
to
of
an
this is
understanding.
just that they need to actually produce the form. This shouldn't require a 6-person response to provide me with a document to ask for employee information about the MTS.
Yeah, I don't know where.
So-
I know, I understand this. Well,
right.
he's a supervisor, and there's security guards from the area.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
so
no,
there's
they
different
were
departments.
explaining
Yeah.
their private
So normally
security.
when a call gets put out for whatever reason, they try to respond just for officer safety. But like I said, he's a
Officer
supervisor.
safety.
He has to respond.
Oh, you guys are probably concerned that this is the nuclear armed
Oh, no,
camera, the
not at
one
all.
that just comes complete with a flamethrower and
that
missiles.
would be too much technology, sir. That would be a lot of technology for us. So
All right, well, look,
even from the military. So
I am going to get some more B-roll footage. If you guys want to just catch up with me, I'm going to be right around the property area. So
Okay.
if he wants to print out a form, if he's got a printer, that's great. But really what I need to do is I need to see if these people are actually going to do what they're supposed to do and give me a request form so I can actually get the records.
so that's your only goal here, the request form, and that is.
Well, I've got some B-roll footage. I need to get a little bit more.
What does B-roll mean?
So the difference between A and B-roll footage is A-roll is primary. So like if you got a tip and a lead that there were regular bus accidents at this one specific spot, right?
Okay.
And it happens every day at noon for whatever reason. And you're like, I know that lead is accurate. I'm going to go there and actually catch, because I know it's going to happen.
Right.
The buses smashing into each other. That'd be A-roll. B-roll is sort of like when you watch a documentary or something, you're like, I went to the MTS facility on this day and here's what it looks like. It's kind of that scene setting.
Kind of like a synopsis of.
Well, no, it's like a scene setting thing. So like if you're gonna do the story and you're like, hey, I'm coming from MTS, or I'm going to MTS to do a story, and then you would show like the front of the building so people are aware of Yeah, it's the Kearney Mesa division as opposed to another division, that kind of stuff. So
I see.
yeah, so that's what it is.
You're a professional cameraman?
I'm a journalist.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's like all
This is
professional
what I
stuff?
do for a living.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
40 to 60 hours a week, depending on the story.
You doing it for a while?
3 years.
Oh, okay. 3 years or a few years?
3 years.
Oh, I thought you said
yeah.
few
So
years.
not super long, but long enough to where I've got a bit of experience at it. So I'm not going to say I'm some super veteran at it. But anyways, like I said, I'm going to get some more footage right around this area over here. So if you guys want to catch up with me over here when the sergeant gets here. Or if he takes a super long time, I will just come back
He's about 5 minutes away.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, I'm just going to be down here taking...
One of these units arrive. Once you see the second unit of this one, exactly like this one, that's going to be him.
Sounds good.
Talk to him. Okay?
Like I said, I'll just be down that way, so... Good timing. You just showed up. Sorry, yeah, it's loud. I said good timing. I said good timing. You just showed up.
How can I help
more
you?
B-roll footage. So what's going on here?
Oh, we're just talking.
Oh no, I know, but Fontes here was telling me there was some issue with the white-haired gentleman with the white shirt.
No,
I'm not sure what's going on, but you know what's going on?
I was just getting some B-roll footage, working on a story about the MTS.
Yeah, that's fine. You can record. That's no problem with that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was really surprised by how the white-haired. By the way, you weren't supposed to. What's his name? The white-haired gentleman.
I'm not sure, sir. Actually, I do not know that.
Gotcha. So he didn't give you his name at all. He didn't give you his title or anything. So when I get the body camera footage,
I actually spoke to about
MTS employee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually spoke to about 4 people in there. I didn't get their information.
Gotcha. Okay. So
Yeah,
we'll be
I
on the
normally
body
get
camera
information and
footage?
names and stuff like that after the fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, yeah. So like I said, I was just getting some more B-roll footage. I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to get here, and if you had any questions or whatever.
Yeah. You said somebody said they wanted to talk to me. I'm the bus liaison for our department.
Oh yeah, that's what
Sergeant
Fontes was
Gonzalez with MTS.
Yeah. No, that's what Fontes was saying. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back in and get some more B-roll footage from in the facility there. I mean, not inside the building, but in the bus depot area. So,
I just want to let you know that once you do cross to a restricted area, I'm just trying to explain this.
Sure, go ahead.
When you are going to trespass, obviously it's against the law. We will be able to detain you on that. So I hope you don't trespass. We are going to notify you when you are about to, so maybe you don't. So I'm just letting you know.
Gotcha. So and maybe you can help clarify for me.
No worries.
You probably deal with this a lot more than I do. But when I looked at PC 602, subsection K and subsection 01, it's very clear that there has to be appropriate signage. So it could be something.
Are you familiar with our ordinances?
I am familiar with ordinances.
So us as MTS officials, MTS employees, under 836.5 is what we can and can't do. Yeah. And then under that, Ordinance 5 tells us what we can and can't do. So we have penal codes and we have ordinances, which kind of like our house rules.
Yeah, like city ordinances.
Yeah, right? Sure. So you will be violating an ordinance violation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's break down what Sergeant Gonzalez of the Metropolitan Transit System is talking about here. First, I want to say that I believe the MTS public officers' attitudes and professionalism were good. Though I do not agree with their unlawful actions to prevent me from accessing the public transit facility, it is worth noting that they did not act untoward in their demeanor. First, Sergeant Gonzalez refers to Penal Code 836.5. What he is specifically referring to is California Penal Code, PEN, Part 2, Title 3, Chapter 5, Section 836.5. That is titled Arrest by Whom and How Made. It reads as follows. Subsection A. A public officer or employee, when authorized by ordinance, may arrest a person without a warrant whenever the officer or employee has reasonable cause to believe that the person to be arrested has committed a misdemeanor in the presence of the officer or employee that is a violation of a statute or ordinance that the officer or employee has the duty to enforce. Interestingly enough, subsection C also compels a public officer to release the person with a citation for the infraction or misdemeanor if they promise to appear as long as they do not demand to see a magistrate right away. That subsection reads as follows. In any case in which a person is arrested pursuant to subdivision A, just read, and the person arrested does not demand to be taken before a magistrate, the public officer or employee making the arrest shall prepare a written notice to appear and release the person on his or her promise to appear as prescribed by Chapter 5C, commencing with Section 853.5. The provisions of that chapter shall thereafter apply with reference to any proceeding based upon the issuance of a written notice to appear pursuant to this authority. As to Ordinance 5 that Sergeant Gonzalez refers to, it is found at the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System's website under Business Center, then Reports, Records, and Policies, then Ordinances. The ordinance is titled, An Ordinance Relating to the Enforcement Authorities of Code Compliance Inspectors, Assistant Code Compliance Supervisors, the Code Compliance Inspection Supervisor, and Taxicab Inspectors 1 and 2. Section 5.1b, as in Bravo, of Ordinance 5 stipulates the following. Additionally, the Board is vested with the duty to adopt all ordinances and make all rules and regulations proper and necessary to regulate the use, operation, and maintenance of its property and facilities, including its public transit systems and related transportation facilities and services. Section 120105. The violation of any ordinance, rule, or regulation enacted by the Board relating to evasion of fares in any transit facility owned or controlled by the Board is an infraction, and upon a violation after the second conviction is a misdemeanor. Section 120450. Ordinance 5, though, only discusses granted authority, not the trespass of which Sergeant Gonzalez spoke about. What Sergeant Gonzalez should have referenced, yet appeared to be unaware of, is San Diego Metropolitan Transit System Ordinance 13, Section 5A, which states that, quote, no person except MTS, SDTI, SDTC, employees, agents, or authorized visitors shall enter upon the roadbed, tracks, structures, right-of-way, or other parts of a transit facility which are not open to passengers or to the public. So that ordinance does appropriately indicate, Ordinance 13 that is, that entering the area I did was in fact trespassing. However, where Sergeant Gonzalez was incorrect in his understanding is that the state of California has a preemption law. Article 11, Section 7 of the California State Constitution preempts conflicts between local and state laws or ordinances in favor of the state. Here is what Section 7 says. Section 7. A county or city may make and enforce within its limits all local, police, sanitary, and other ordinances and regulations not in conflict with general laws. In other words, the ordinance that Sergeant Gonzalez believes he is enforcing correctly is in conflict with the general law or trespass code of California Penal Code, Part 1, Title 14, Section 602, subsection U, subsections 1 and 3, which read, Section 1. Knowingly entering by an unauthorized person upon an airport operations area, passenger vessel terminal, or public transit facility if the area has been posted with notices restricting access to authorized personnel only, and the postings occur not greater than every 150 feet along the exterior boundary. And subsection 3 defines a public transit facility as, quote, public transit facility has the same meaning as specified in section 171.7, which states in California Penal Code, Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 7, section 171.7, quote, public transit facility means any land, building, or equipment, or any interest therein, including any station on a public transportation route to which access is controlled in a manner consistent with the Public Transit Authority Security Plan, whether or not the operation thereof produces revenue, that has as its primary purpose the operation of a public transit system or the providing of services to the passengers of a public transit system. A public transit system includes the vehicles used in the system, including, but not limited to, motor vehicles, streetcars, trackless trolleys, buses, light rail systems, rapid transit systems, subways, trains, or jitneys that transport members of the public for hire. Sergeant Gonzalez failed to ensure that the exterior boundary of the facility has signs posted at least every 150 feet to warn the public they are not allowed access to that area. One of the reasons I went out to get B-roll footage was to see if the facility had proper signage every 150 feet. In conclusion, Sergeant Gonzalez did not handle this encounter correctly by not understanding the full depth and breadth of the codes and ordinances he is supposed to be knowledgeable about. The reason it was not challenged beyond that point is that it was already made clear by Sergeant Gonzalez's threat that if I went back in where I had previously taken photographs and video, I would be arrested. That threat suffices in meeting the threshold of a rights violation, which is now being followed up with by a complaint. So that this issue can hopefully be corrected and that it is now known to the public at large.
Which is trespassing.
Yeah, I totally get that. The issue is that it runs afoul, and that conflict, which is discussed in a few cases in California, seem to have a competition between the ordinance being invalid as it relates to subsection K and subsection
Well,
01.
these are MTS ordinances. I'm not sure what you read on, but MTS ordinances is what we rely on to conduct our enforcement.
Sure.
So, and you did mention that there is no signs, right?
Correct.
So,
Nothing at all.
Yeah, and so by me informing you right now what the infraction is, and then later on when you are going to commit that infraction, by me also informing you, hey, you're going to commit that infraction, is similar to a sign because I'm informing you what that violation is.
Gotcha. So what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No,
I'm
no
just
worries.
Speaking out loud, trying to make sure I understand this. MTS, by their ordinance, can randomly decree any one area is or is not off limits without any sort of consistency to it. Tomorrow that parking lot could be off limits. Today it's not off limits. The next day after that it's still off limits.
Well, because MTS has private property just like this. It is private property. And because you're on our property, once you hit our property, we can enforce our ordinances.
Sure.
So our ordinance cover any MTS property, whether you're at a bus stop, whether you're at a MTS property where there's no rail or bus stop, or one of our yards.
And you said private property, right?
Correct.
Gotcha. So, puzzle me this. Why is it then that MTS on its own website instructs the public that they can go and do public records requests, and it mentions in accordance with California Civil Code 7920.530, which is the California Public Records Act. So if you can go and do a California Public Records Act, but now public officers can deem randomly that you can or cannot go just by the day, by the moment, to go do your Public Records Act request, that's absolutely in violation of the California Public Records Act. What you're doing is you're saying somebody that may perhaps have a disability now has to go out of their way and be powerfully inconvenienced, or potentially even worse, unable to get to the designated area to get the CPRA that they need to get, because you guys have whimsically decreed that someplace is on one day not available but the next day available. That's arbitrary.
I'm not sure what you read on, but the proper way to request any information is going to 1255 Imperial Avenue.
What Sergeant Gonzalez just stated there is incorrect. The California Public Records Act has made it abundantly clear that one may request a record in any format, as evidenced by California Government Codes. California Government Code 7922.500, which reads, "Nothing in this division shall be construed to permit an agency to delay or obstruct the inspection or copying of public records." And California Government Code 7922.600, which reads, in subsection A, "When a member of the public requests to inspect a public record or obtain a copy of a public record, the public agency, in order to assist the member of the public, make a focused and effective request that reasonably describes an identifiable record or records, shall do all of the following to the extent reasonable under the circumstances. 1. Assist the member of the public to identify records and information that are responsive to the request or to the purpose of the request, if stated. 2. Describe the information technology and physical location in which the records exist. 3. Provide suggestions for overcoming any practical basis for denying access to the records or information sought." Additionally, California state case law affirms in Los Angeles Times versus Alameda Corridor Transportation Authority in 2001, in the Court of Appeals, 2nd District, Division 7, in the state of California, in which the opinion held that the California Public Records Act does not require a request for records to be made in writing. In support of its ruling that the Times was not the prevailing party, the trial court said that Government Code Section 6253 contemplates a written request for records. The court apparently took the view that the Times' oral request caused much needless work for all, and thus supported a denial of attorney's fees. That, likewise, was error. The Act requires that records not exempt from disclosure be made available upon request for a copy of records that reasonably describes an identifiable record or records. Government Code 6253 sub B. It is clear from the requirements for writings in the same and other provisions of the Act that when the legislature intended to require a writing, it did so explicitly.
Go through the security area, go and request to the 10th floor on what you would need.
Gotcha. Yeah. And
so that's the proper way. Or I can provide you Mark Olson's number, who can provide you any other information.
yeah, and I get what you're saying. I hear you.
Yeah.
The issue that is afoot here with that is, again, going back to my point, you guys are now running afoul of California code, actual statute, that says any member of the public, doesn't matter if they're a journalist or not, you, me, anyone, can go to any public facility, and at that public facility, in accordance with that code, 792530, go there and do your public records request. Now, based on what you said, Sergeant, if you can, by ordinance, randomly decree one day it's accessible and another day it's not, then what you're doing is you're becoming the gatekeeper of who can and cannot, or how available you're going to choose on behalf of MTS to make them, those records, available to the public. I don't know if that's, you don't seem like a bad guy, so I'm not trying to make this sound like it's malicious.
Yeah. But it's you're either on private property or not. And once you go on there, you're on private property. You're either on private property or not. And once you go on there, you're on private property. You're either on private property or not. And once you go on there, you're on private property. There's no gray area. It's either you're on property or you're not on property.
How could a California state code,
again,
declare
private property?
It's
our
on
ordinances.
MTS's website, though. MTS's website actually says,
and you can speak to Mark Olson about that.
Okay, so let's get to the brass tacks then. Can I go back on that property?
In the public general area, yes, you can.
That's where
but once you trespass, which we will inform you what is trespassing and what's not.
And what happens if I go into that area?
If you do go into a trespass, again, before you do that, we're gonna try to warn you on that.
Sure.
But once you do trespass, we have the right to detain you, all right, and then go from there. What happens from there, I don't know. But I'm just letting you what will happen.
So are you saying if I go, after you decree what area is and is not accessible to the public, you're saying if I go in there, that is now a crime?
Correct, of our ordinance violation.
Okay, and you're saying that's a public ordinance?
No.
It's a private ordinance?
MTS has the Metropolitan Development Board.
Yep.
Right? Find this online. Go under Ordinance 5. It tells us what we can and can't do.
Sure.
Right? Which is enforce certain penal codes and enforce all our ordinances. Mm-hmm. By you going on private property, now it becomes, right, us. And then once you trespass.
Right. Well, Sergeant, let's do this because I think this is something that's really important for the public to understand, because I understand, and I'm glad you mentioned the board. Those are public officials. They're not private officials. So the problem we run across is, for example, on the backs of your shirts, I'm assuming for you to have on the back.
Yeah, well,
it says public officer. Yeah. So I know for a fact you don't have public officers working for private entities, with the exception of one agency.
836.5 penal code. Google it.
I know.
It'll tell you exactly what
I know what you're saying. But here's the thing: is it's really not private. Okay, what it is it's really public because taxpayer dollars go to it. And if the
private company used by the public,
the magic thing here is if a company, which actually I should say agency, if an agency has on its website a reference that says you can come to any office to do a California Public Records Act request, that would include that. Public records requests only apply to public entities. Now, what I think there might be a confusion over, and it gets a little into the weeds here, is you have municipal corporations, which would be like, let's say, a public utility, right? Then you have quasi-municipal corporations, because some cavalcade of lawyers and judges a while back decided to come up with some silly name game and decided to call agencies like this quasi-municipal corporations. It's still a municipal corporation and it's still a public corporation. So I think what we need to do here is just have me report on this. So what I'd like to do is go over there. You guys can tell me where that area is. You've already said it's a crime. Obviously, the outcome of going in there is that you guys would effect an arrest for a violation of trespass. And I can address this with the public officials that operate this public agency. Yeah. And look, I understand the lawyers that did this, they're probably the C-grade attorneys, right? They just barely made it through something like Seattle U or whatever the version of that is here. They're struggling. They're just trying to make ends meet. They're not the A and B students, right? And so, unfortunately, those lawyers didn't pass along good information to you guys, and now you guys are understandably relying on bad information. Unfortunately, it just creates a problem where it's a rights violation. If there's proper signage, and here's why I'm taking umbrage with the trespass ordinance. You can add, absolutely you can add with ordinances. You cannot take away from the statute though. So if the statute says, like subsection 01, that every so many feet there has to be a sign that demarcates what that area is, that's so that there's never any confusion. And that's partially why it's actually intended to protect you guys to a certain degree, is so that you guys don't have to make arbitrary and capricious decisions out in the field. You're just like, what does subsection 01 say? There you go. Are there any signs there? Nope. Therefore, it's a publicly accessible area. Now, if they had gates closed, that actually counts as that, because if you're going to start turning into some Olympic pole vaulter and going over that, it's easily articulatable in court that area was meant to be closed and acts and operates in a manner sufficient with signage. That's not the case here. So if you want to go over there with me, you can point it out, and then you guys just want to make it clear as you did a moment ago. Yeah, that'll be an arrest.
General, if I go into the area. There's, like I said, there's general public area.
Sure.
You know, like if you go into a regular lobby, which is fine.
Sure.
You know?
I mean,
But once you go into a restricted area,
yeah, then,
you know.
I hear you. And part of the problem with that is, and I just want to make sure all of this is on your body-worn cameras as well as my own footage. Part of the problem with that is that allows cover-ups to occur. So if there's public employees doing things they shouldn't be doing, drinking on the job, driving hazardously.
I hope not.
Oh, sure. Obviously, we hope that wouldn't happen, right? How many times do we see bad things happen with public officials all the time, right? They're doing things they shouldn't be doing. The public employees are doing things they shouldn't be doing. So limiting the press unlawfully from gathering content that's germane and valuable to the citizens, especially in an election.
And that's why you can request, our media guy.
Well, yeah, you know what happens there, though?
I have no clue what happens.
I can tell you, because
I know is that
I work at this.
We're here to
they lie
enforce
and deceive,
our ordinances.
they clean everything up.
That's pretty much
It's like in the military. What happens if you hear that there's going to be some sort of an inspection? You don't go and then, just completely leave your room or whatever it is that you've got in disarray. You clean it up because you don't want to get in trouble. That's what the media people do, the points of contact, the PIOs. But for the press to have to be able to come in here lawfully, as I'm lawfully allowed to go in there to the places that I'm in disagreement with you about, that's so that we can get information that's relevant to citizens, especially in an election year, so they can look at those board members that are working as public employees can then be petitioned to seek redress of grievances. You know, one of those other 5 things in the First Amendment. So if you want to follow me over there, I'm going to go over there. I'd like you guys to point out where you're saying it's restricted so that I can understand based on what you said I'd be arrested if I go in there because that's a crime, and we'll just have to go from there and take this up with the board. And I don't know if that means
Yeah,
it's gonna have to
I
be a
mean,
civil
I can
suit
give
or-
you a phone number. You can also make a complaint, or you can do it online.
Nah, just do it in person.
I mean,
yeah.
I can always, or I can take your complaint and then I can, you know,
No.
go from there.
I think it's more important to do that in person because they're just going to round file the complaint.
Well, every complaint with MTS is looked into.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, it is.
I mean, when it comes
We
down
even
to-
have a professional standards manager that takes care of that as well.
Yeah, bureaucrats are
At least in our department.
Bureaucrats are not overly responsive to things because bureaucrats aren't elected. It takes a lot, especially in a state like California or Oregon or Washington or Hawaii, to get someone fired. That's why they don't care anymore. I appreciate what you're saying, but that's just not how it is, and that's one of the reasons why I'm down here getting footage. Is this is the kind of stuff that goes on?
You can.
The guys completely.
You're welcome to record anywhere where the general public can be.
Part of the footage is already gathered, demonstrating that that particular administration there is corrupt. The white-haired guy with a white shirt is refusing to comply with the California Public Records.
I'm not sure who that is, but I'll find out who that is.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, if you-
I haven't even been in there yet.
Oh sure, yeah. Let's go up there. Let's go up there.
Yeah, let me move my vehicle.
Yeah, you bet.
Hey, supervisor, right? The goal was to get that form, right? The request form. So yeah, like you said,
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. Part of the issue is you guys might be good public servants, right? And that's great, right? That's good. That's a good thing to see. But making up for the intentional mistake, or I shouldn't say mistakes, the intentional actions of a public employee who should be complying with state law shouldn't require transit enforcement to show up because he's choosing to not do his job. That's the story. That's the story right there. Is like it shouldn't take 3 transit enforcement officers, public officers, and 3 security to show up and figure out for that guy if a public records request form can be handed out, right? I mean, imagine if you get another 10 people over the next 2 weeks, let's say, that show up here to. I'm starting to get out of here.
I mean, the way I can say it is your requests matter to us. You know, and that's why the supervisor's
Where's the
here.
guy he's talking about at?
He's inside. You want me to walk him in? Yeah.
Well, I can appreciate what you're saying. What it is that guy in there is a tyrant, and he doesn't want to actually do what he's required to do for his paycheck.
1 second, sir, okay?
Sure.
Thank you. I can call you by your first name, but
Actually, if you could point out to me where are you guys saying for the record is the quote restricted area?
we'll let you know right now. Give me 1 second.
Sure, you bet. All right, so what's
Yeah.
going on with the alleged restricted areas or whatnot?
What do you mean?
You were saying that even though there's no signs, there's certain areas.
Oh yeah. So this area here, general public.
Gotcha. What's not?
Once you go into our yard, so once you pass that and go into our yard, it'll be considered trespassing.
And how would a random person, some citizen that shows up, know this in advance?
I'm not sure.
This is now the story, everyone. I have laid out a crystal clear, exhaustive detailing of the California codes and ordinances surrounding lawful access to this public property, which Sergeant Gonzalez believes is private property. Honestly, though, Sergeant Gonzalez, though he has to accept responsibility for the rights violations in the moment, it is the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System Board of Directors that are the true people responsible for the rights violating, tyrannical behavior that leads to the misinformation that public officers are led to believe is true regarding what is and is not public versus private property. This shocking display of disregard for the law is what you've all put into office, California. Remember this when you go to the ballot box later this year. In case you want to vote out these tyrants, in this election year, this is them and their contact information.
I wouldn't be able to answer that, but I'm here now.
Yeah, and this is exactly why the ordinance can add to, and I want to go back to that. The ordinance absolutely can add to, but it cannot subtract from. So when California Penal Code 602 and K and 01 says there
Are
has
you
to
talking about penal codes? I'm talking about ordinances.
I know, but
Like 6020 says if you go there and I tell you you can't be there, then that's 6020 if you don't listen.
You are right about the whole agent of the facility
Yeah.
asking in subsection 1 of section
And you know
O.
what? There's not a lot of signs everywhere. Imagine if there were signs everywhere, it would be flooded. You would probably have to run a sign business to probably be a millionaire.
Imagine
However,
if the legislature
Yeah.
intended that and we're all required to follow that law.
Well,
So my point is that
we're-
your
we're talking
ordinance
about-
can't
you're talking about
subtract.
legislators, I'm talking about board members. You know,
They're legislators. When they create those
Board
ordinances, they're legislators.
What's your back, Brickmart? Yeah. But to answer your question, that's why we informed you what is and what isn't.
Gotcha. And so, just to make sure, so that going past that point is trespassing and thus a crime.
Correct.
And that's what somebody be arrested for.
Technically, yeah. Correct.
Okay. So that's all I need. I mean, this is part of the problem is there is nothing here that informs
And
the public.
I do suggest you make a recommendation that, you know what, there should be signs at certain areas. Like, let me give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
Some of our trolley stations have concrete, you know, you can walk on.
Sure.
And then once you step on the gravel that's going to the rails, that's considered trespassing, technically. Because now you're off the walking premises and now
Yeah.
you're going into the rail area.
Now, I don't want to...
But there's no signs until like maybe 20 yards out, right?
Correct.
So can there be signage somewhere or better use of it? Probably. I don't know.
Well, I want to clarify something, though, because I think this is important, especially since the body-worn camera is going to get downloaded. It's going to be publicly accessible.
And you can always request
at
it.
least the public can, once I release the story about this, look at it and see what's going on. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not trying to sound sardonic. I'm not trying to sound sarcastic.
No, you're
okay?
you're good to
But
go.
here's what I'm saying, Sergeant Gonzalez. The reason when I say an ordinance cannot subtract from it, what I'm meaning is when you look in Penal Code 602 for trespass, this agency is required to comply with that. The exception is they can add, they can improve, but they cannot alter, edit, or subtract from the Penal Code. So, for example, I'll give you a perfect example, actually, one that makes sense. Right now, Penal Code 602 for trespassing says, depending on the length of a perimeter, so let's just say that side of the property, right? Every so many feet there has to be a trespassing zone.
Probably.
That's exactly what it says.
That's the thing. You know, with all due respect, you're talking about penal codes. I'm talking about ordinances.
I know. Just let me finish my argument.
So the ordinance says something a little different.
I know, but what I'm trying to
But I hear you.
Be really clear is the ordinance in and of itself is unlawful because it's coming into conflict, and that's unlawful with the penal code. There's certain things that they're required to comply with as it relates to Penal Code 602. So, for example, what the MTS could do, for example, is say, well, California Penal Code 602 says there has to be a sign, and I want to say if it's a mile-long border, I think is the example they gave, it's every 300 feet on a mile-long side, right? Okay. The MTS could say, we're going to improve on that. We're going to make it to where the ordinance says it's every 250 feet. So you're not taking away the 300 feet, you're actually adding to it. So what I'm saying is the fact that there are no signs here in accordance with Penal Code 602 for trespass, that's illegal. The board is not in compliance with something they're required to be in compliance with. So and that's why I'm saying...
You can refer it as well.
Well, I'm just going to release the story. I mean, it's really the citizens. It's not me to win this.
Yeah, or you can do both.
It's up to the... Yeah. Well, I'm not from here, so I can't vote here.
Yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah.
You like the summer in San Diego.
So, anyways, this is just a story to release. I mean, this shows the MTS not being in compliance with things they're required to be in compliance with. Is it the biggest deal in the world? No. But it's something that I think needs to be shared to the public. And then also, the white-haired gentleman with the white shirt and the blue shirt guy who's in that office over there.
I don't know who they were because I went in there and
Well, the blue shirt guy said he was a supervisor. He didn't really say like what his title was.
Okay.
He was just like, I'm a supervisor.
So you were able to talk to him?
Like for about 10 seconds.
Gotcha.
But then the white-haired guy came over and was completely refusing to assist me with the Public Records Act. That's unlawful. In fact, actually, I could ask you guys right now with a verbal request for the San Diego MTS Transportation Enforcement Service. I could ask you guys right now a verbal request for records from your agency
Yeah, you can, and I would have to get your information, which probably you're not.
Yeah, no, I could give the
Or
information.
if you would like, it's a consensual encounter.
Tell you what, let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to I would like to make a records request with you right now.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
I'm willing to give you the information that I'm required to by law, which is nothing, but I'm going to provide you with my email address
Okay.
so that the records go there. So
Yeah,
what I'd like to get...
what I'm going to do,
Sure.
I didn't bring my notebook. It's in the vehicle. Do you have a notebook on?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
See, and this is good though. See, like,
And I
this
will
is,
pass this information to our professional standards manager.
well, if you could just send it to the public records officer, that's...
Well, I have to go through my chain of command.
Oh, okay.
So whenever there's like a recommendation or a complaint or
Well,
something along the lines of that.
This isn't a recommendation or complaint.
Yeah.
I'm making a records request.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pass that on to our
okay.
professional standards
Okay.
manager.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, as long as it gets to the PRO, it doesn't matter which chain it goes through. I mean, that's fine.
1 second. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
1 second, sir.
Sure.
Take mine.
Sir. Small window.
All right, guys. I'm waiting for Officer Fontes. He's going to assist me with my verbal public records request in accordance with the CPRA. I think there's some serious misunderstandings here. I don't think it's malicious on part of the enforcement office. I think the board, which is responsible for doing things correctly, is failing to do that. I'll finish narrating in a moment. So,
What is your email, sir?
yeah, it's anonymous.
Spell that for me. I want to
no,
know.
that's right. ANON. YMOUS.
Excuse me. ANON.
Yep. YMOUS. Citizen. Just
I've heard about you, I think.
Anonymous citizen?
I believe you. I believe so. Anonymous citizen.
That's weird. Yeah. WA.
WA.
Yeah.
Washington. Is that what it means?
Oh, no. It means something else.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. WA.
So anonymous citizen WA at Proton Mail. PROTON MAIL.
PROTON.
MAIL.
All together. Mail.
Yep.
.com. All right. I'm gonna repeat everything. Okay.
Sure.
So anonymous citizen.
Yep.
WA at protonmail.com, and I'm gonna proceed to spell it. So ANONYMOUS citizen. That'll be CITI Z as the zebra ENWA at proton. That's PROTON MAIL mail.com.
Absolutely. That's perfect.
All right.
And so what I'd like to get is from this shift today.
Yes, sir.
For your shift. I don't know how you identify your shift, first, second, third shift, whatever. I'd like to get all names, duties, positions, titles, rate of pay, and longevity in the total job. So even like with the sergeant, for example, he's obviously been promoted up to where he's currently at. I'm not looking for how long he's been a sergeant or a corporal or an officer, just how long has he been employed. So longevity in job total with San Diego MTS.
And you want this through your email.
Yeah, if you guys could send that to email, it'd be perfect.
He's gonna be the one in charge of doing this, so I'll relay that information.
Well, you got it on body camera. We're good.
I don't. No, I said I need to relay the information.
Oh, you're gonna relay. I'm sorry. I thought you were wanting me to relay.
I'll let
Okay,
him know.
cool.
So you want all these details, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and if you could, just have the board look at this issue. I mean, it's really it's a low-hanging fruit, simple fix. All they got to do is put up the signs. It doesn't have to be about, for example, the white-haired gentleman with the white shirt just having to, posture and be a peacock here. It's just something that's valuable to the public to know. And if they could just look at and refresh themselves on how ordinances can absolutely add to, but not subtract, alter, edit the current penal code, they still have to abide by that. But if they want to improve it, like I said with my example, if they want to put signs up every 10 feet, great. They can absolutely put an ordinance that says that. Yeah. But they can't say the ordinances now are every 600, or the signs can be every 600 feet. That would be illegal because now they're altering the penal code for trespass. Okay. So, anyways, really appreciate your time, Fontes.
I appreciate your
you have
time,
a good day?
sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
You as well.
All right, guys. So, yeah, really the point here for this board is that they're just simply out of compliance with this. They're trying to have the best of both worlds. They're not the Federal Reserve. They don't have the ability to be this, quote, private entity that gets to pick and choose when statutes and public laws and codes and whatnot apply to them. And that's what they're trying to do here. And that's not okay. There's absolutely a reason here why the penal code for trespass applies, as I beat a dead horse over there with. Now, they made it clear I'd be arrested if they're trying to play the semantics game. He didn't say it, he didn't say it. That's just simply not how that works. It was made very clear they would detain. If they're going to detain, they're going to arrest, because now what they're saying is at that point they got reasonable, articulatable suspicion that a crime has occurred, is about to occur, or is going to occur. And in that case, they would just make the arrest, because in his mind, that Sergeant Gonzalez is saying that it's illegal to go there. So they're not going to just detain and release you at that point. What they're going to do is they're going to identify you, they're going to arrest you. And this isn't about them not having the ability to restrict access to certain areas. This is about them needing, they are required to put those signs out there in accordance with the California Penal Code for trespass. They just got to comply. And government loves to make you comply, but they never want to comply with their own laws, rules, policies. So comment below what you think. Let me know what you think of Officers Fontes and Sergeant Gonzalez. They are public officers. I mean, the irony here is very sharp. They're public officers. Like I said, it's not the Federal Reserve. What a mess that is. But they don't have this ability to just go around and randomly decree where you can or cannot be from one day to the next. That's just silly. I guarantee you, but I'm going to do a public records request for additional information. They're going to, for policy, there's not going to be a policy that says this area is demarcated. It's all whimsical. It's all whimsical. That's what it is. So anyways, that's it here for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that all notifications bells to get my stories right when they're released. You can follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at I.A.M. Free Auditing, on Facebook at Inland Auditing Media. And if you want to help keep my feet on the streets, you can do so by going to the links in the description for Cash App and Venmo. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.